Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
This sequence of events which took place between the wafat and this incident of the door of Fatima, this is where we don't have certainty. There is no, clear, sources of history which would give us that. But we will, inshallah, try to see what would be the most probable, sequence of events between these two, tragedies. Basically, there are 5 events from the wafat to the attack on the house of Fatima. Number 1 was the first attempt to demand allegiance from Banu Hashim. This was the first attempt. We many times confuse that with the day when the house was attacked. Then the second event would be the compilation of the Quran in a chronological order, in the order of revelation, which was done by Ali on the command of Rasulullah during his last days. And then the incident at the same time, those days when Ali was compiling the Quran in that way, at night he would take Fatima alayhi salam with him to the house of Ansar, where they will talk to the men and the women to try to, ask them to support the cause of Ali. But the response they got was that, Ali, it's too late, you should have come before. Things have been done. And then after the compilation of the Quran, we have the event where Amir al-Mu'mineen goes to the Sahaba and says, this is the Quran that I have compiled based on the chronological order. But it was rejected. And it's only after that that we come to this issue of the incidents of the door. So these are the events which happen from wafat to the attack on the house of Fatima al-Zahra. As far as the sequence is concerned, when did it happen? Did it happen in a week's time, or more than that, or less than that? I would like to share with you the conclusions by a scholar of our time by the name of Sheikh al-Zahra Mahdi. He really has written very extensively on this issue of the tragedy of Fatima al-Zahra, and the title of his book is Al-Hujum Bayt-i Fatima, assault on the house of, or the attack on the house of Fatima. There at the end he even talks about this sequence. That, what was the sequence of this event and what is the timeline there? According to him, he says there are 3 possible sequences. And remember, these are possible because we don't have 100% certainty about these events and how long did it take. And these 3 possibilities that he talks about, from the wafat of the Prophet to the incident of the door of Fatima, it goes from 1 week to 10 days. And the main point here is that the duration in which Ali was compiling the Quran, either that duration was short or it was long. So this whole issue, whether it happened in 1 week or 10 days, everything has to do with this issue of the compilation of the Quran. And this is where we have to realize that it's important that Ali compiled the Quran in a chronological order and presented it to the Sahaba. He would not have done that if the house had been attacked before. So that's a very important point when you study history and you try to bring the events and put them in a sequence. This is where even al-Zahra Mahdi is using that as an important, timeline to find out when did this tragedy take place. So Monday, 28th of Safar, year 11 of Hijrah, is the day of the wafat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're looking at the first, possible scenario of this sequence. So Monday was the day of wafat. Tuesday night, the Prophet is buried. And on Wednesday is the first attempt to force Banu Hashim to pledge allegiance. And we'll talk a little bit more about it. And then Thursday and Friday, Ali spends in compiling the Quran. And during the night of Thursday and Friday, he also goes with Fatima to the houses of Ansar to seek support. And on Saturday, after compiling the Quran, he then presents that Quran to the Sahaba, but it was rejected. We'll come to that later on. And so that is on Saturday, 4th of Rabiul Awwal. On Sunday is the day when the house of Fatima was attacked. And that is the first scenario, and you'll see later on, this is the one I would prefer according to my own reading of the sources. The second possible scenario that Sheikh al-Zahra Mahdi mentions is that the wafat of the Prophet is known, Monday, 28th of Safar. Tuesday he is buried at night. Wednesday is the first attempt to force Banu Hashim to pledge allegiance. That's also, so the first 3 days are kind of, there is no dispute there. Then he says from Thursday to Sunday. So now you have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's not 2 days, it's 4 days that Ali spends in compiling the Quran according to chronological order. On Monday, he presents the Quran, and on Tuesday, the house of Fatima is attacked. And so this is where you see the duration becomes longer. And this is based on the source, one narration which is there in Usul Kafi. The third sequence is longer than that. Again, Monday, 28th Safar is the day of Wafat. 29th is the Tuesday, Rasulullah is buried. Wednesday, the first attempt to force Banu Hashim to pledge allegiance, where they refused. Thursday to Tuesday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So now we have 6 days there. Compilation of the Quran. It's more, longer time period in this third scenario. And Wednesday, then Ali goes and presents the Quran to the Sahaba. And Thursday is the day when house of Fatima was attacked. And this is where the source for the second and the third is same. However, when I look at the sources, I prefer the first version. That, when it comes to the day when the house of Fatima was attacked, it was Sunday, the 5th of Rabiul Awwal. And the reason I'm saying is that, between the second and the third scenario, I have doubt about the third scenario because it is based on the same source as the second scenario, same narration, but the reading of the words would be different. You see, the second scenario is based on the narration from Kulaini in Kafi, where it says, sab'at ayyam, 7 days after the wafat. Whereas Sheikh Saduq, quoting the same narration, says, bitis'at ayyam, after 9 days. Now the problem is that those days, if you know the Arabic alphabets, if you don't have nuqtas, you can read sab'a and tis'a, depending on how you're reading it, because there were no nuqtas there, and that's where I consider the third one to be least likely, and the first one would be the preferred understanding according to my reading. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.